This is the 2020 Toyota Supra, and I'm going to give you my impressions and provide you some detail about this car. Yesterday I did I gave you my quick thoughts on it, so today I'm going to give you a little bit more detail, get into depth about the specifications, the performance, all that kind of good stuff, and also look at the interior. My name is Eric, and this is RevMatchTV, and in the US, the only available powertrain option is going to be the inline 6. It's a twin scroll turbo, 3 liters. It's the BMW B58 engine, and it's going to be mated to a ZF 8-speed automatic transmission. Currently, that is the only powertrain option available in North America, and as far as I know, also in the UK. Jalopnik is reporting that there is a 4-cylinder available in Japan so far with 192 horsepower. So for the rest of the video, I'm just going to walk around the car, give you some close-up video of the car so you can see the detail of the exterior, some of the interior, and I'm going to show you 3 different colors. The white one, I'm going to show you a gray one, and a red one. If you want to see the video I did yesterday, it's going to be linked right up in the card over here. There are 2 trim packages, or grades as Toyota likes to call them. The 3.0 is the base. It starts at $50,000. And the 3.0 Premium starts at $54,000. And let me get into the difference. Mechanically, they are the same. They both have the BMW B58 inline straight 6 engine with a twin scroll turbo, variable valve timing, and they are both mated to an 8-speed ZF automatic transmission. There's an air-to-water intercooler which is integrated into the plenum. So the base model has Alcantara seats, and it has a 6.5-inch navigation display and a JBL audio option for $2,460. It has an iDrive controller. They don't call it iDrive, but it is essentially BMW iDrive 6.0. Now the version we're looking at here is the Launch Edition, and I'm going to get into that in just a moment. Now, the 3.0 Premium has an 8.8-inch display with navigation, and they call it Super Connect, wireless Apple CarPlay, 12-speaker JBL audio, wireless charging, and a heads-up display, and it has leather seats. Now this particular one has the red seats, which are only available in the Launch Edition. So the Launch Edition is $55,250, and there's only 1,500 of them available in the US. It's going to be available only in 3 colors, in white, red, and black. It's based on the Premium Edition, and the white and the black one have red seats, and they have carbon fiber accents and a numbered plaque with a graphic of Akio Toyota's signature on, I guess, on the dash somewhere. And these are going to be the first ones that are going to be released. So I've got a question for you guys down in the comments. Which color would you choose if you had to choose between black, white, or red? And there's other colors available too. So I'm going to put the UK colors up on the screen here, and I think they're a little bit different than the American colors. There is an option which is in the premium package, which is driver assist for $1,200. So the standard features on both grades, as well as the Launch Edition, include forward collision warning, automatic emergency braking with pedestrian detection, lane departure warning, road sign assist, and automatic high beams. And if you get the driver assist package, that's going to have a full-speed adaptive cruise control, blind spot monitor, rear cross-traffic alert, parking sonar, and rear collision warning. Now what's cool about this car is it has 50-50 weight distribution. I'll show you a full side shot here. The colors available in the US are going to be Renaissance Red, Nitro Yellow, and Downshift Blue. And this is the available Phantom Matte Gray, which Toyota says adds a sense of drama to the Supra's tautly curved surfaces by combining a matte finish and a hint of blue to create a metal-like texture. Now this is actually my favorite color so far. This really shows off the highlights and the curves of the car. I think it looks really, really excellent. No word on pricing. Also, other available colors in the US are going to be Absolute Zero White, Tungsten Silver, Turbulence Gray, and of course Nocturnal Black. Now this car has more torsional rigidity than the LFA, so it's a very, very stiff structure. And the front suspension is a strut design. I don't know if it's a McPherson strut, but Toyota's calling it a double joint spring strut. It has a very rigid subframe mounting points and aluminum control arms, apparently to keep the motion control for the wheels really in check. And in the rear, we have a multi-link 5-arm construction setup, and it is made of aluminum and steel. tire choices on this are actually the only choices. The only tires available are 255/35 in the front and 275/35/19 in the rear. So this is the red color. So it has Pilot Super Sport tires all the way around, and it has Brembo 4-piston calipers up front. Pretty big. These are on 13.7-inch rotors. I'm going to zoom in on these just for a second here. So standard is adaptive variable suspension. So it has two settings, normal and sport. And sport reduces the intervention from the stability control, and it also increases the steering weight, and it amplifies the exhaust sound. Now, I don't know if that means there's an actual valve in the exhaust system or it's pumping in cabin noise, simulated exhaust. I'm not really sure. I know BMW does the cabin noise thing. Not a huge fan of it. You can see those LED headlights quite a bit better in this shot. So the rear has an active differential. It's got an electric motor and a multi-plate clutch system, and it varies the torque continuously between 0 to 100% from either side with no steps. And it can control cornering. It can control torque in corners and braking. So I'm wondering if the aftermarket will be able to program the diff to perhaps behave a little bit differently. I'm not sure, but I guess we'll wait to find out. Let me show you a little bit of the detail of the styling in the back here. So what's really interesting is that these lights are actually separated from the body. It's a pretty interesting look here. And there's a lot of different styling surfaces here too. And there's a lot of different surfaces going on. Obviously, it's got this dual exhaust setup with pretty big looking exhaust pipes. There's a reflector element in there too, and actually this is GR, which stands for Gazoo Racing. I like the iconic Japanese Supra badge going on in the back there. That's very, very cool to me. So looking a bit more at the styling over here, we can see these vents which are non-functional. I'm wondering if they can be removed. That's a possibility. I'm going to show you the front really, really closely because a lot of people are sort of interested in that. You've got this lip over here, the spoiler. The radiator is pretty far back. I don't know if you can see it in there, but it's a good foot back there. So that means I think you can put in some aftermarket cooling, maybe a transmission cooler, maybe a differential cooler. Not exactly sure, but you should be able to do some additional aftermarket cooling in there without any problem at all. You can see the parking and distance sensors over here. And the nose really, really reminds me a lot of the Mark IV. My initial take on the styling is it's pretty sharp. I think it's a pretty good looking car. This is actually my favorite view from the rear. I like the duckbill spoiler. It looks to me very, very modern, and it still definitely evokes some of their previous Supras, perhaps not the rear so much, but this to me looks a lot like the 2000 GT. And in fact, Akio Toyota, who introduced the car yesterday, mentioned the heritage with that car as well. And I think it's really, really apparent here in the overall proportions and just sort of the overall look and feel. So this piece is solid over here. You're not going to get any air through it. The rear air diffuser is pretty aggressive for a street car, really. I'm not sure how much we can see under here, but let's see if I can zoom in on that diff a little bit. All right, there's the active diff. This does look like a BMW unit. Perhaps it's the same one as what's in the M4. Not exactly sure. Can't confirm that, but it does have a lot of similarities to it. And you can see the cooling vanes on there. So Toyota tells us that the road and track development of this car took place in France, Austria, the Italian Alps, and of course at the famed Nürburgring as well. So they're definitely aiming for this to be a handling machine. They're showing it on the racetrack. They introduced it with a Formula One driver. And I mean, that's sort of how they're positioning the car. And if you want to know where it's being built by Magna Steyr in Graz, Austria. They're an independent assembly company. They actually do work for a number of different manufacturers, so it's actually not being assembled at a BMW plant. It's a relatively low volume plant, and apparently they can produce cars that are a lot more custom and do shorter runs. So my initial impressions of the styling, I really like it. I think it's really sharp. I think this is a fantastic color right over here. said before, the nose is very reminiscent of the Mark IV to me. I did a video comparing the styling of this car compared to the Mark IV, the MK4. It should be a very agile car. It's not a GT car anymore. I know there's a lot of people who like the MK4 because of the heritage, because it is a GT car, and that basically is a car that is designed to be a little more luxurious and cruise on the freeway, a little more powerful. This is a much more, I'd say, handling focused car. So standard features on the car on both grades as well as the launch edition include forward collision warning. I think that's these little sensors, probably these sensors right over here. Automatic emergency braking with pedestrian detection, lane departure warning, road sign assist, and automatic high beams. So driver assist includes a full speed adaptive cruise control, blind spot monitor, rear cross traffic alert, parking sonar, and rear collision warning. Some people were interested in looking at the doors over here. This is not an opening, this is just an insert. You're not going to get any air through there. This is actually just part of the door. Here's the detail on this whole piece. It's quite interesting looking. It flows into the fender. And this is quite a nice white. I think it's got a little metallic sheen to it as well. All right, so the car is 50-50 weight distribution. The wheelbase is 97.2 inches and the length is 101. So one styling element here is the double bubble cockpit roof. I sat on it earlier and I would actually be able to sit down with a helmet and get in there with the seat in its lowest position. Pretty cool. So who are the competitors for this car? A lot of people have been talking in the comments about the main competitors, and I think you've got, at least in the US, you've got the Camaro, which starts at $38,000. If you add magnetic ride to sort of do a comparison to this, which also has adaptive ride, that's $36,665, and the 10-speed auto is about $1,600. So that comes in at about $43,000. So it's about $7,000 less for the Camaro with a comparable set of options. Now the car is quite a bit heavier. The Mustang's about 3,800 pounds compared to the 34 with this, so it's about 400 pounds difference. Quite significant. Looking at the Mustang as an example, pretty similar pricing. It starts at about $36,500. You add the 10-speed auto and it's $1,600. And if you want to compare it a little more closely, you add the premium with leather package. You're starting at $40,500. 10-speed auto is $1,600. And to get it even a little bit closer, the GT Performance Pack with the Torsen differential, which is comparable to this, is $4,000. So you're looking at $44,000 to $46,500. So also cheaper. Again, it's a different car. It's a much bigger car. It's much heavier, and you can put stuff in the back. It's actually got a usable back seat. This has no back seat in it. Now, the stated competitor for this car, which Tada-san said, is the Cayman, the Porsche Cayman. That is $57,000. Comes with 300 horsepower. But it is 453 pounds less. That is a whole lot lighter. So you're getting a pretty different car. This definitely has, more power, and hopefully the handling is going to be, it's going to be different because that's obviously a mid-engine car, but supposedly this is a very, very good handling car. The Cayman S is, with 350 horsepower, is $69,300 to start. So that's quite a bump up. So the interior is pretty tight. It's pretty small. It's even a little smaller than the 8.6. This is the launch edition, which has the red seats. There's going to be 1,500 of these launch editions, and the red seats are going to be available on the white cars, like this one, and on the black cars. The launch edition also has this carbon fiber inserts over here. I'm going to zoom in on that. So here's the carbon fiber inserts. You can see it has essentially what looks like an iDrive controller, and it basically is. There's the ZF or ZF 8-speed transmission, also looks very BMW-like as well. These seats are adjustable. You can adjust the bolsters over here, and over here. The materials are quite nice. And let me go over to the driver's side. So my overall impression of the cabin is it's definitely very BMW-like, which is not too surprising. However, The materials in here are definitely not as premium as what I saw in the BMW Z4 a couple of weeks ago. It's definitely a little simpler. The construction looks very, very good. Everything feels very solid. The doors close a nice solid thunk. So it has a full digital display. There's nothing analog on there at all. And here is the 8.8-inch screen. And it's just overall a very, very simple looking cabin. It seems very driver focused to me. Here's the switchgear. This is the JBL audio in here. And it has 3-position memory seats. I found them to be quite comfortable. I sat in it yesterday. I'm 5'9". I'm not the tallest guy in the world. It fits me very, very comfortably. I'm fairly thin as well. I think if you're much over 6 feet, if you're pushing like 6'4" or something like that, it might be a bit tight in there. You'd have to try it yourself. And it is a very driver-focused sort of cabin. These accents on the steering wheel here, this is just for the Launch Edition, and the red is just for the Launch Edition as well. So, you know, it's not quite as premium feeling as the BMW Z4 with the Unline 6. That car, the M40i, starts at $65,000, and this, the base one, starts at $50,000. So there's quite a bit of a difference here. My name is Eric, and this is RevMatchTV, and if you want to see more Supra content and other cars, just hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.